one easy way, just hold the power button down for a while.
Okay, anybody else have a question? Yes.
On the question of passwords, I understand that there's an app or something that will keep your passwords and change them for you, and you never have to have the uncomfortable, embarrassing situation that those people had this week with you. I don't know what it is, I don't have it, but I'm interested.
There are a bunch of those. The first one that comes to mind is LastPass, where you keep all your passwords in this one app on your phone, and then all you have to do is remember that one password to get into that app. The obvious snag is if you get that one password, then you're out of luck. Of course, you can also do what I do, is I keep all my passwords on Excel, which is I have my spreadsheet password protected. Once again, I don't think I'm likely to forget it, but if I do, I'm out of luck. But all my passwords are right there. I find that more convenient than LastPass or any of those other password managers, but that's personal preference.
Yeah, but one caveat is this. What happens if you want to change your password, then you have to go into TrueKey or LastPass, and you're going to have to go change that as well.
Right.
So you have to, it's not...
Yeah. Yeah, Scott raises a very good point, because I've done that, changed the password, then failed to change it on my spreadsheet, and then next time I look at the spreadsheet, it's outdated, and I'm mad at the computer. That's my fault.
I keep an alphabetical phone book, you know, I bought a phone book,
Mhm.
and I put all my passwords in there. So
Okay.
I have that one book.
Okay.
right?
You mean a physical book?
Physical book,
Mhm,
yeah.
right,
And
right.
so then I can, if I change it, I can just draw a line through the old one and put the new one, and then I know it.
Sure, sure, that works too. Dick?
When you're changing a password, like on Yahoo or Gmail, you go to settings. Do you have to know your old password
Generally, yes. Yeah.
in order to change?
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll ask you, what do you think your last password was?
Right.
Or if you can't remember that, they'll ask you some other questions. But you really have to have an active phone, because most of the time, either a secondary email address which you own, or you're going to have a phone number, because they have to contact you personally, one way or the other.
I was gonna say, if you didn't remember your password, was there a way you could go around about?
It depends on the password you forgot. Each company has a different method of having you reset your password.
I think I know mine. Well, I write everything down, so I get a sheet like so big with passwords for everything.
And again, if everyone, I write them down too. Actually, what I do, I'm not going to tell you how exactly where my stuff is, but I create a folder within a folder within a folder of obscure things. So I have like about 100 passwords that I have in there. So when I change the password, I go back into that, change it, and save it. So I have it on my desktop. So if anyone ever wants to break into my house and come, they'll find all my passwords on my desktop if they could actually figure out. It'll take them an hour to figure out where it is on the desktop, but beside the point. Also, remember to always put the date that you changed the password after the password, so you'll know, oh, when did I change the password? Was it 3 years ago or was it last week? So put
That's
the
a good
date
idea.
next to that.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that everybody has a different method. Terry uses a hard copy, I use a spreadsheet. People use LastPass.
I use index cards and I put
There you go.
alphabetically,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's easy.
Yeah, all these are good, it's just what you prefer. Do enough people in here use, how many use Yahoo Mail? Okay, well, a few of us. Let's, very quickly, let me show you. I'm in my mail there, as you see. This is the settings icon. It's up in the upper, Scott's going to turn the light off for us. Right up there, that's where I go to change my password. And Gmail has something similar. Go to settings, and among other things, somewhere in here, I haven't changed it. I don't follow Scott's advice, I haven't changed it in a long, long time. But accounts,
Me,
probably.
mine have stayed for 10 years.
Somewhere anyway in there is the place to change my password. Or maybe it's under my name. Account security. All right. So to answer Dick's question, Generally, yes, they want you to sign in again, even if you're signed in, just as another security measure on that. Okay, anybody else with anything that came up this week? Go ahead, Lauren.
I use comments in my Excel spreadsheets, and I think I got an update, and all of my comments were deleted from my spreadsheets. And I really use my comments for, I depend on having that information there. And for, in whatever version it is, and since I was in Jersey, I have 2 computers there, and I'm in Florida, I have 2 computers here, so I'm not sure which one was which and which update it was, but I've lost my comments. And now on my software, when you go to add a comment, there's 2 things there. One says add a comment, and one says add a note. And apparently this new thing called note is working the way the old comments worked. And the new comments have something to do with, it's been broadcast or something like that. Now, I don't use any kind of networking or anything, so, but I guess it's good for people who work in groups, but for them to just simply wipe out all your comments without ever bothering to tell you that that's what they were gonna do.
Right.
I have old versions of my spreadsheets where I can copy my comments, but
Oh, good.
my spreadsheets are pretty dynamic, so I can't just copy a column or a row and paste it over. I've got to be careful with it. It's going to take me a long time to do. And did anybody else see this? Am I the only one?
I use my spreadsheet every waking minute, but I haven't seen that. I don't use comments.
Oh.
Have you gone back into the Excel options and made sure that comments is turned on?
I did do that.
Okay.
And of course, I don't know which computer, because I wasn't paying attention to it, and it sort of snuck up on me, you know. So I know on one computer, I did go in and look at the options to see if comments should be on or off. And I just really, because I traveled this week and I was in between 2 places. So I haven't got it settled down yet as to what happened, but I know my comments got screwed up. Good thing I've got backups. But I
Right.
tried opening a backup, and the backup, the comments were missing also. So it happened sometime in this last week and a half.
All right, well,
I'm wondering if maybe going back to the last restore point might restore the system to,
exactly, because a lot of times,
But then you miss an update, you know, they send you
Right.
updates for a reason.
right?
what version of Office do you have for Excel?
Yeah, it's got a lot.
You've got to look, because if that's the case, you could go in, like Joe said, and go back in time, because they always have updates for Microsoft Office that come. Updates sometimes mess things up. So if you went back in time in this particular instance, it may fix the problem.
Yeah, it looks deliberate though, that now they've got a line for comment and a line for note. So it looks deliberate.
If you can't resolve the issue, you can always ask Google, you know, you put you have to know the version, because all versions are different.
Yeah.
The same thing would happen with my wife's QuickBooks when she does it. They had an update and then she lost all the things that looked normal. So you have to be careful, you know, of these updates that occur.
Yeah, Scott's suggestion is an excellent one. Let me elaborate on that for a second. None of us in this room have ever faced a computer problem that nobody else in the world has. Whatever happens, somebody else has had the same problem. Or question, as Phil's question about BJ's, do they sell tires? I went online, on Google, immediately, somebody else had asked that question, does BJ sell tires? So Google, I hate to say it, but it's kind of true in a sense, Google is our friend, is the saying. Not always our friend because they don't do nice things with our private data, but as far as getting the information, Google is our friend. No matter what question you have, what problem you have on the computer, somebody else has had it, and you can always search for that. Okay, yeah, Ray?
I want to thank you for the gentleman you had last Saturday. It was good.
Okay, good,
I
good.
saw people, a lot of people scribbling, writing, so it was
Okay.
really good.
Good. Cheryl?
There's a lot of people here that use Excel, and I've Googled this, and I can't seem to fix it. And I think I mentioned it before in one of the meetings. When I'm doing a spreadsheet, all of a sudden when I'm doing a spreadsheet on Excel, all of a sudden I can't do anything on one page, and I have to click on another page, even if it's just a blank page, and then go back, then I can do it. But then once I go to a different cell, I gotta do the same thing, so it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's random, and it drives me bananas.
I can understand that.
Who's our Excel expert?
That would be me, but I've never had that problem. Cheryl said she Googled it, and I don't know the answer. I've never had that problem, Cheryl. I don't know what to
That's
say.
the problem, and they just haven't been able to fix it, and they said it is, it's random, so it's not, like I can come up here with it, and I don't know if it's the length of time I'm on it, which is like all day, but
I'm
so
on all
are
day.
a gazillion other people on
Yeah, right.
all day.
Yeah.
You know what version you're running?
Of Excel,
Yeah.
2013,
That should be all right.
yeah.
Have you checked the computer for any kind of malware? Perhaps that's affecting
I have
Excel.
Malwarebytes, I have the, and then, Windows Defender and the CCleaner and the Adware I put on,
Mhm. You're doing everything right.
so.
How about uninstalling and then reinstall Excel?
That's a good idea. All right, Dave says uninstall and reinstall Excel.
Install.
You won't lose the information in your spreadsheets.
Okay, that's the next question.
You want to back them up first, of course, but you won't lose that information.
You know, I never thought of this, but you may be able to try this. There's a repair function for Microsoft Office, which encompasses Outlook and Excel and Word and whatnot. You go into like you're trying to uninstall it, but instead of clicking uninstall, you click change, and then when you hit change, there's a repair function. Now, if there's any of the files that went awry, it'll repair those, and it might bring back the issues. I never thought of that. But if you could go, do we have an Office on here?
I do. Let me demonstrate, it's an excellent idea. What I just did there is I went down, let me back up a step, because I don't want to say anything this morning, or much of anything, without demonstrating it also. So I'm clicking in the lower right, or lower left corner there, it says type here to search. I'm just going to type CON, and it brings up my control panel right away. There I can just hit enter. And unfortunately, you won't be able to see much of this, but there's all the things that I can change settings on. One of them is programs and features. That's the one we want that Scott was just talking about. In programs and features, there's going to be Microsoft Office. In this particular computer, I have 2013, just like Cheryl has. If I right-click, it says uninstall, or change, this is the one I want. When I go to change, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uninstall or change?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. And then quick repair or online repair. And Cheryl, you can see the couple of options there. I would try the quick repair first, see if that helps. If not, try the more extensive repair. And Scott makes a very good point, because I occasionally have had a problem with Office, and this has solved that problem. So thank you, Scott, for that good suggestion. Anybody else have a problem like that with Office, where that might be useful? Okay. Well, if you do, then that's how to do it.
Can it work with other programs?
No, this is specific to Office.
All right, anybody else have a question besides what we'll talk about this morning? Okay, so thank you to all those who gave us questions. We've had about 15 or so come in the last few weeks. I put these more or less in order of what I thought would be the most interest to folks. We'll just go down through, maybe I'll skip over a few, just see how it goes. Tony had a good idea yesterday. Tony said, instead of just us standing up here and answering your questions, let's get the input of everybody in the room. So what browser should I use? I'm going to throw that question out and let you answer that. Try to make it on a volunteer basis at first, but I may use the Army method if I have to.
I haven't had any problem with Google Chrome.
Okay, so Phil likes Chrome, all right. I've had a problem with Chrome that I'll get to in a moment, but anybody else, what browser should you use?
Yeah, my wife uses Edge.
Edge, okay. So Edge has the advantages that it's integrated with Microsoft Windows, right? So theoretically, it's going to work well with the computer, where Chrome is an extra. Tony?
I have 3 browsers, but I use Firefox, and I've had a big problem with Google Chrome.
Okay, so why do you prefer, well, what problem have you had with Chrome, and then why do you prefer Firefox?
Intermittently, I get a pop-up in the right-hand corner with a box, and it freezes the machine, and I can't type in anything with it, and sometimes I can just X out of the box by putting some words in there, I X it out and it goes away and it works fine for a while and then comes back. But that was haunting me for like 6 weeks. And just last week, I transferred everything I wanted out of Chrome to Firefox. And I haven't used Chrome, so far this week, nothing.
Okay, good. I have tried Firefox, I found it personally slow. Anybody else have that problem? A couple of years ago, Scott alerted us to the difference between Firefox and WaterFox. And it's a little bit technical, I won't get into that, but essentially WaterFox is the updated version of Firefox, is what it comes down to.
64-bit.
Right, that's why I don't want to get the 64 versus the 32-bit, it doesn't matter to us. All we need to know is it's a later version. How many here use WaterFox? Okay, Laurie, is there one?
I just changed to Edge because I said the other week it was holding up all
Yeah,
the time. So
right.
I'm back on Edge and it's going fine.
Scott, do you still like WaterFox?
I don't use WaterFox. Mozilla's really wonderful. It's really a free, they have many wonderful things, and it's a free, actually, it's Linux-based. So it's really good. I just use Google for everything, so I'm pretty biased, as to why I use it. But, Joe and I discussed before class today, wanted to talk about, well, why we thought one was better than the other, and we thought we'd ask you, but I think if you're using the Edge, you're going to be using the Bing search engine, which gives different results than the Google search engine.
Right.
And, but the nice thing about that is the way that all your pages are displayed. So you can open up 5, 10 pages, and all you have to do is tab through them, and it's very easy to see. So if you open up multiple pages, Edge is a pretty good browser to use, but for speed and for information, which is what's important to me, I particularly use Chrome, and it works for me.
Now, have you ever had the problem where certain forms you just can't fill in, just don't work on Chrome? I have. That's the issue I mentioned a minute ago that I said I'd address again. Anybody else that uses Chrome have that problem? You go to a certain page and Cheryl just does not work.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll demonstrate it real
Okay.
quick. Here's the problem. A lot of times you can't fill out forms because of the pop-up feature. So, I'm going to open up, let's see, Google right over here real quick. Now, what you do to avoid that problem, you go to the 3 dots, of course, and you go to Settings. Everyone knows if they use Chrome, pretty much that's how you go and change things. You have to scroll down to the bottom up to the Advanced section over here. And if you want me to review this again so you can write it down, we can do that. But then you're going to go into Content. So Content, where's Content? Content Settings, you see it right over here? Right? Then you're going to go over here and it's going to say pop-ups and redirects. So by default, it wants to block things. This is blocked recommended. We're going to make sure it's unblocked. Now everything will work again. It works. The last week I had 2 customers, and that's the reason I was able to get here so quickly, because I experienced this problem and I had to research it using Google.
Google is our friend.
And it works. And so they were happy and they were able to fill out their forms again. So that's a perfect example. So if you want to do that, great. If you're worried, certain pop-ups will pop up anyhow. It's not a bad idea to use this thing that Joe has at the top right. It's Ad Blocker Plus, this little red thing. You just put Ad Blocker Plus and search for it, download it to Chrome, and that'll block most of the pop-ups anyhow, but will still let through the ones necessary for the forms.
Okay, so that's good to know. My solution was simply to switch to Edge in those cases, and it worked. But if I wanted to stick with Chrome all the time, then I could see where that would work. I find that Edge is sometimes faster than Chrome, sometimes not. I don't know, it just depends on how it goes. Laurie?
What I don't like about the Edge is the Bing search engine.
Right.
And I can put an actual address in my search. my bar,
Mhm.
and it will give me all the companies that will give me similar services before I can get to my address. I have to scroll down, that's what I don't like about that.
I'm pretty sure, and Scott, help us out here, I'm pretty sure that we can specify that Chrome, or that Google rather, be the default search engine, even in Edge. Right?
Yes.
Mike says, yeah, can we go to Edge? I've got Edge open there, I believe, yeah, right there. And go to our settings.
Okay,
And I'm not sure where it is.
change by default, let's see what we're doing.
It could be under advanced.
Okay.
Proxy. Don't ever mess with proxy setup. If you do, you may not be able to get
Search
it.
engine. There it is.
Change
Yeah.
No.
search engine.
Yeah.
I think it's in the corner, bottom left-hand corner, in those settings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it
It's
here.
on Bing.
Yeah, right now, my default is Bing.
And choose one.
Mhm.
You see, Microsoft doesn't like you to use anything else.
They don't give you a choice.
Now, I don't see why it doesn't show Chrome, but, you know, that's pretty interesting.
We don't like them.
No. Okay.
If you remove it, then what do we have? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I won't let you remove it, but, yeah.
No, it's
Go
right
ahead,
now.
go ahead, yeah. What happens if you
I
click
got,
on
I
it?
got
Yeah.
there.
No, but I know
Oh,
I
you
can
still can't
switch
remove
it,
No,
and then in the
okay.
next update.
Mike, do you know how to do that? You said that it can be
Or
changed?
you turn off your computer and you turn it back on and it flips right back to the thing.
I
It's
have,
like
I
we're
use
using
Edge on
assistant,
it.
it's going into the thing.
And I don't know how it got set that way, but my page comes up as Google when I go on Edge.
Well, yes, you could put any address you want in this address box, you know, up top here, and, you know, you could Google.
Probably,
No, but I'm saying it comes up automatically, I set it like.
Yes,
default.
yeah, if you click over here, you could set your home page
Yeah, to Google.
to
Google,
Google. Yes,
right.
you could set
Yeah.
anything you want, but it isn't the Google company like it is in Google Chrome.
right.
If you have Gmail, it's a lot easier to use Chrome as the default search engine because you can actually save a lot of things. I like to use a little microphone, so I get lazy typing. I'm not the greatest typist in the world, so I just talk into the microphone and it takes me where I want to go. They're using Cortana for the Edge,
Mhm.
and Cortana, of course, will bring you to the default Bing answers. And
Right.
I have to scroll down 3 pages to find the answers I really want with Bing, where Chrome usually has it right at the top.
Yep. Okay. All right. I think that we can move on then to another question. Let's see what the next one is. How do I cut and paste? Okay, so this is an interesting question. I think it was a good question. Well, I think the best way is just to demonstrate it, because I wanted to show you a couple different things here. First of all, probably most of you know this, you have to highlight whatever you want to cut and paste. Simple enough. Drag your mouse over that. From here, there are 2 ways, and I'm here going to throw it out to everybody, 2 different methods of cutting that information that I just highlighted. Who wants to answer what's one of those ways? Mike?
Why don't you right-click on it, it should come out cut.
Right click, yeah, which is the one I usually use. And unfortunately, we have such a small screen here, we can't really see, but right at the top, it says cut, and under that, copy. I am going to recommend that you copy rather than cut, because you don't want to cut it and then lose it, and I'll come back to that in a second. But right-clicking is the key here. Right-clicking is our friend, more so than Google maybe, because we can always find a lot of options with right-clicking. Now, when you do right-click though, you want to be a little careful, because if I move my mouse while I'm right-clicking, look what happens there. I get a totally different set of options. And I know we're not the youngest we're not as young as we used to be anymore, and it's harder to hold our mouse still, our hand still, while we're clicking the mouse. So that I've seen this happen a lot, where people try to right-click, and instead they move their mouse a little bit, and they get that different set of options, and they say, "Where's my cut option? What happened to it? It's gone." So the key there again is to just hold the mouse still while you cut. And there's a bunch of other options there that we don't get into. I will show you this. Let's say I do click on cut. Nope, that's not what I wanted either. Let's go to a different place here. let me go to here. Now I'm going to right click on cut. Notice here when I go to my list of files, cut is no longer at the top. On a typical Windows, it can't do anything twice in the same way. But I go to cut here, and I think, rats, that's not what I want. I didn't mean to cut there. Does anybody know how I get out of that?
Escape.
Escape, right? Somebody has it, right? The upper left corner of your keyboard is the key marked ESC, stands for escape. And notice what happened there. When I did that, you might not be able to see it, but I go to cut, and it's hard to say, but it's lighter text now. It's really hard to see on the screen, unfortunately. But when I hit escape, it goes back to the darker text. So if you ever cut the wrong thing, then you can always get out of it by hitting escape. But as I recommend, as I mentioned, I would go to copy, just to avoid that problem, then go back and delete the original file that you wanted to move somewhere else. What's the other method of cutting and pasting?
Joe, sometimes when I cut or I copy and I go to paste it in a new place, you have to be careful that you've got enough space for what you're gonna paste in there, because if I paste over another line, it takes the other line away.
Right. Yeah, that could very well be an issue.
Usually it gives you an option though before,
Yeah,
it takes it away.
Yeah, but if you're actually,
Do you want to replace it or not? So it doesn't take it away automatically.
I think you're thinking of Excel, Lori, and you're right. In Excel, it does ask you, there's already data here, are you sure you want to replace it? But if you were in Word, for example, you wouldn't have that option.
and if you ever make a mistake within a document or whatnot, at the very top left, there's a little arrow that's a back arrow. So you could always hit the back arrow and go back to the thing you did before. It's almost like erases what you did. You know what I'm talking about if you open up the document?
Right. So here's a Word doc.
At the top, the third one at the top left.
I'm just going to delete that. Uh-oh, now what do? And surely somebody knows. Yeah, the arrow is right there. Does anybody know the keyboard shortcut for undoing? Nobody? Okay. Control and the letter Z. The control key, CTRL, and the letter Z. I'm not touching my mouse right now. My hand's only on the keyboard. I like keyboard shortcuts because my philosophy is most of the time my hand is on the keyboard, not on the mouse. So it's easier for me to use the keyboard. Control Z, as in zebra, brings that back. Now what if I decide, oops, I didn't mean to do that? There's another option, Control Y. I have no idea why. Why? Y is redo. I can redo, undo, redo, undo. I can do that all day by clicking Control and holding my finger on the Control key and then pressing the letter Z or the letter Y. So what about my original question? What about cutting using the keyboard? This one is logical. Anybody know the answer to that one?
Come on, you know the answer.
Yeah, somebody knows.
Control
C. C is copy, yeah. So that's a good one to know. You won't be able to see anything here, but I'm going to hold down my mouse and, the control key, press the letter C, copy it, and now, what's the paste key, somebody? V, right. And again, why V? I know why it's not P because Control P is print, but Control V, paste it. What if I do decide for sure that I want to cut my text? Anybody? It's going to be logical when you see it. Control X. I say it's logical because it looks like scissors, right? Cutting, right? In fact, Roger made that little joke before we started. What was it again, Roger? How to cut and paste?
I use scissors.
He uses scissors, right?
Scissors with glue.
Right. So X and then V, paste it.
They just started from the back end of the alphabet and worked their way.
That's right.
Now, again, the same principle applies to files. I have that file highlighted there, and of course you always have to do that. And by the way, Scott brought this point up, and it was a good one before we started. He talked about how do we select multiple files. Back in the old day, before Windows 10, what you had to do was hold down the Control key and click on every file that you wanted. Now, Microsoft added this very helpful little short cut, you can't see it, but to the left of each of those files, there's a little box. I can click on that box and choose as many files as I want. Or unchoose them, unselect them if I want. I'm using the mouse now, but I could use the keyboard. Anybody know that little trick? Speaking of keyboard shortcuts.
How many are gonna use that little trick?
Maybe not. The spacebar selects in this case. So I can again use Control X and you'll see those two files disappear. They don't disappear, they just become more gray. Control X, and I can escape out of those, but the point being, Control X is the keyboard shortcut for copying and pasting. All right, any more questions or comments on that? Okay. Facebook. How do I post on Facebook? Surely somebody knows the answer to this because Tony and Scott and I and Roger don't want to talk all morning. How do I post on Facebook? I'm right here on my homepage on Facebook. Somebody help us out. What do we do here?
Check-in?
Check-in is one way. Check-in's kind of cool. Yeah, what's on my mind? And again, you really can't see it, but it's right there. What's on my mind, Joe, is what it says. I can type anything there. I'm at the computer club, whatever I want to type there. At the club. Woohoo. Okay, so where would I go from here? Sure. I can also add photos or videos. Let's do that. I'm going to go, I have no idea, I'm sure it's not embarrassing, but I have no idea what that video is, what that picture is. And, oh, okay, there it goes. It's a picture of my, a screenshot of the phone I took for another question. So I could click on share. And now there it is on my timeline. Now, two questions for you. Number one, what if I look at that and say, oops, there's a typo in there, oops, there was something else I wanted to say. Is it possible to edit my post? Okay, how do we do that?
Where the dots are.
All right, 3 dots. All right, I can delete it, which is going to be my next question, but you see the answer there. I can edit it, edit the post. All right, I would make any changes that I want here and click on save. Or I can delete it, which I should probably do, but before I do, just show you another thing here. You can add your feeling. I don't know how many would want to do this or find it useful, but I can add that. I'm feeling loved because I'm at the computer club. I save. Joe Wazinski is feeling loved. I'm at the club. If any of my friends see this, they're probably going to wonder, what in the heck is, he's really lost it now. He's gone. So I'm going to delete this. By the way, I don't know, let's not go into that. Okay, it says you can edit it if that's what I want, but no, I want to delete it. Okay, now it's gone. Now this is an interesting one too. Lindsey Brown, a friend of mine from my working days 100 years ago, checked into the Tampa airport, right? I'm not sure how to do this on the computer, but on the phone, I know how to. I don't know if it makes any sense. I guess it would make sense to do it on the computer. But if you're at the airport, you want to tell everybody you're flying out of town, you can click on those dots again. One of your options is right there to check in, right? And then this is what you get. This person is at the airport. Okay. So I kind of like that. If you want to tell the world that you're going out of town, which may not be the best idea. I think here at LTOW we're pretty safe. Helen?
When you're on Facebook and you just want to say like, you can click the like, but you have to enter also.
I'm sorry.
Therefore, comment.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make your comment, and then you push the thing enter. You
Right.
click enter.
Mm-hmm.
But when you just want to like something, you have to push enter.
You just click on
Right,
like.
in that case, you just click on
I don't know
like.
your name.
Yeah, it says you and 5 others.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
Oh, okay.
Right, right. Yeah, let me find a good post here to like. Yeah, okay, from a friend of a family friend, I like this photo, so there's my like button.
Right.
And then, oh, that's something there to show you too. When I rest my cursor over like, I get all these possibilities. I can like it, show love, laugh out loud, go wow, sad, or angry are my options there. So that's kind of cool. Now, what happens if I like something and I say, you know what, I really don't like that after all?
Click it again.
What do I do? Somebody?
Click it again.
Click it again, right. I can unlike it.
I've got a question regarding to go live. You know how you can go live and broadcast something? And if you do, show us how to do that, and also how long can you go live?
Yeah, as far as how long you can go live, I don't have an answer to that. And as far as doing it, let's see here. By the way, notice, there we go, live video. Notice what I'm doing here. This is something that I know Roger, Tony, Scott, and I, and others have said repeatedly, but I can't overstress it. The best way, the single best way to learn how to use a computer is to, and somebody help us out here, do what? Just play with it, yeah. Somebody said play with it, sure. You can't hurt anything. If you do, well, then bring it in on Monday morning, we'll help you. You're not gonna hurt anything. Yeah. 95% of what I know, which is very little about computers, I learned everything. I wonder if you can do this. Oh yeah, how about that? You can do that. Nope, I tried that and it doesn't work. So play with it. This live video, I knew you could do it on Facebook. I've never done it, but I'm playing with it at Scott's suggestion. And it wants to use my microphone, wants to use my camera, so I'll allow that. Tony, sit in front of the camera, please, so it's you and not me. And there we go. Now we're actually broadcasting live on Facebook. So if anybody cares, you can also do that on YouTube, by the way. And I think I'm out of that, and I hope I'm out of that. I think we are. So I would definitely recommend that. Once again, just play with it and see what you can do. You'll learn a lot that way. Anybody else have a question about Facebook while we're here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead, Suzanne.
Kind of stopped. When you share, how do you know who you're sharing with?
That's it.
Your friends. Yeah. It's going
Well,
to be,
because there's something I found you can click on and you have multiple options, like in a message.
Mhm.
Can you bring that up?
Yes. If I write, right here is where we're thinking of, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
See what my cursor is?
Yeah.
I can share this with my friends.
Public, yeah, this.
Public, anyone, I would not recommend that.
What does that mean? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. It means literally that. Anybody on or off of Facebook, anybody who has a Facebook account can see what you post.
Is it gonna throw it into their, because when you click home,
Mhm. I believe that it would. I've never tried that for the obvious reason I don't need the whole world to know
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
what if I wanted to show everybody my cat?
What's on more at the bottom? What is that?
Only me. See all.
Well, see, what does all that mean?
Okay. Well, public, as we talked about, apparently, and I'm kind of going out on a limb here, but I believe I'm correct, that anybody on Facebook can then see it. They may have to search for that, which isn't going to happen, so that may have that safe part. That's just a guess on my part, I don't know. May have that option. Or it may show up in their timeline, I don't know. With friends, that's fairly obvious, only those people that you're friends with. That's kind of cool.
They pop up, all those people that pop up over to the right when you're in Facebook.
Well, those are people that are online at the time,
Oh,
but
any of my friends.
right, any of your friends see it, it's eventually going to show up on the timeline. For those who can't see that, which you probably can because, well, technical limitations here, I can show friends except for certain people, which is kind of cool. I can show specific friends, only me, custom, include and exclude friends. Okay, don't share with somebody, share with somebody. So you do have a lot of flexibility there.
There was
As far as
one
posting.
listing that I have, something about put into a private message.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see that on my options, but it's, yeah,
Messenger.
yeah, I think that's probably what you're thinking of as Messenger, right? Which is, that button right there is Messenger, right? So I could send a private message to anybody.
So you create it, you create the post and go there and you can send it to that particular person.
Right.
Messenger.
Right, and that's the only person that can see that particular message, theoretically.
And also, you can actually do a Skype right from instant messaging, which is what I do with my son. You click on it, and there should be a little movie camera
Mhm.
at the bottom, or pick one, and
Okay.
you should be able to, you see let's see, the camera at the top in blue, there, to the left. Yeah.
Start a video chat, okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. How many people use Skype? Okay, Philip does. And, okay. Andy does, okay. So there we go. Now I learned that we can actually have a video chat right from Facebook. Okay. So that might be easier than Skyping.
Joe, you can, with Skype, you can call to a telephone,
Right?
and I think it's 3 cents a minute or something. You can call internationally.
Okay. Well, with Facebook, you can do it for free, as long as the other person has Facebook.
Yeah, but with this one, they don't have to have a computer, you just call them right.
Ah, I got you, right from the phone, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Okay. All right, any other questions on Facebook before we move on to something else?
Heck, I was sending this stuff too.
Okay, so let's go back to our next question here. I wasn't quite sure what that meant. Helen, I believe that was your question. Can you clarify for us?
How do I get two things on a screen? Like if I'm looking something up, yeah, but I don't know how to express it.
Okay, so say I want Facebook and I want
Yeah.
my Word document at the same time. Is that what you're thinking? Okay, so actually I learned this trick here at the club. You see there's three little buttons up on top. There's the minus button, okay, you know about that one. And that would close it, of course, that button. The one in the middle is the one that we want. It's the restore button. So I need to click on restore down. And when you see this button, it looks like a square, that's where you want to be. All right? And then what you do is hold down the Windows key and press the left arrow. That's what I'm going to do now. And look what that does for me.
What's the Windows key? What's the Windows key?
The Windows key is the one that actually looks like a little window, bottom left. The second button to the left of the keyboard on, or the space bar on my keyboard. It may be different on your keyboard. Now I'll do the same thing here. I'll press that center button. And I'm going to hold down the Windows key and press the right arrow. And there we go. Now half of my screen is filled with Facebook, half of my screen is filled with
Use your,
Word.
use your laser button and show us what that back screen is again.
Show us
Windows
What, ma'am?
key or something you said.
this one.
Just review it again.
Yeah. The center of the three buttons there. So let me maximize. I'm going to click, there's the minus sign, the square, and the X. I'm going to click on that center one,
Right.
which is going to toggle back and forth between looking like one piece of paper in front of another and just looking like a square. That's the one you want,
Right.
is right in the middle of those three. I need to make sure that I have the square button, then use the Windows key.
Yeah. Point
I
out
like the
that,
Windows key.
point out the Windows key with your.
The Windows key is on my keyboard.
Use your laser to show it here.
There's nothing I can show you because it's on my keyboard.
Keyboard.
Yeah, keyboard.
Bottom left.
Colored dots.
The left arrow and the right arrow.
Well,
Yeah.
it's,
Nothing I can show you. I can't use my laser pointer because it's actually on my physical
control
keyboard.
key and your shift key, your Windows key is down here.
I'm using the center button.
All right, down on the screen,
Oh.
on the lower level, all
Right.
the way to the left.
Now that's something that altogether different. That brings up a
Arrows,
a list of all the programs, right? I see what you're saying, but no, that's not it.
but it's right.
If you're not sure, then come and see us after the meeting's over and I'll show you what the window key looks like on the keyboard itself.
Hit the left or right or
Yeah, it might be also good to mention, at the very bottom of the taskbar, you notice that there's icons there. Some of them have arrows, little lines underneath. Now, those lines underneath means that they're hidden windows behind what you're seeing. So if you ever wonder if the window is open, especially when you're doing multiple, searching for multiple different things, it will actually show you what's open. So you'll say, well, where is this? Where is that? Well, it's still there, but you just have to click on it. You see
The line
the
there.
line, but the lines underneath, it means they're open behind what you're seeing here.
So I've got a photo open, I've got Word open, I've got Chrome open, I've got a list of files open, and I've got Edge open. You can have as many of those open as you want, as long as you have a memory on the computer to handle it. This computer does have a memory, so I'm okay. Helen, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like that feature. I use this quite a bit when I'm working on something. I'll have two windows side by side. Let's combine it with the question earlier about copying and pasting, because now it really comes in handy. If I want to say, this is what we're talking about at the club this morning, okay, I can select those, copy it, go over here, right-click again, paste it, and boom, there I go. I like that a lot because I don't have to switch up between open windows. Right? It is very quick, very easy to move information between various sites. Now, some smart person in the room, how do I get these windows maximized again? Right, hit the center of those three buttons once again, and then I maximize it. So, a great little trick to know, and I appreciate that. I learned that here at the computer club. All right, any more questions on that? The next question, I already told Tony I'm going to hand it over to him because he's the Karish Doctor expert. So Tony, take it over.
Okay, in order to get into that, I would have to spend an hour or so talking about all the different features of Karish Doctor. But I will say it's an excellent program to clean up your computer. Now, if you've ever run Karish Doctor, it goes through 32 steps. Each step handles a different feature. For instance, if you wanted to check if your computer was running hot or not, it goes and checks the hardware monitor to see if the temperature is correct. It goes in and clears the cache. It goes in and looks at the system registry. So in order to give you a complete explanation, I would have to go through 32 different steps. Okay? It's not necessary to explain each step because most of us don't understand it to begin with. The important thing is that every time you can run Karish Doctor, when you do the full scan, that's when it runs through all those 32 steps. And it's not necessary to run Karish Doctor every day. You can run it once every month, once every couple of months. It's going to go through all 32 steps, okay, find the errors that it finds because it's cleaning and maintaining your computer. Okay, so you run the full scan, it'll come up with any number of errors. I've seen it go up to 30,000 errors. I mean, it's possible you're going to get a lot of that stuff. Garbage files, keep cleaning the cache, it goes on and on and on. So again, to explain it all, I would have to go through every step. Scott?
For example, how do you turn the lady's voice off?
Okay, well, Joe's, you can turn options.
Wait, we can't see that in front. Let me back up for a second, Tony, and show everybody how to open Karish Doctor. On your computer, it's possible, what we're looking for, maybe down in this little line.
Tony, you better go into the window.
In my case, I have a lot down on that taskbar. That's the taskbar, everything down here.
Yeah.
So on that little up arrow is where I'm going to find Karish Doctor. I click that, and then this is the one that looks like a blue circle with a white check mark in it. I need to double click that, and that opens Karish Doctor for me. I want to maximize it. There's my maximize button so we can all see it. So that's how you get in. And then Tony, just walk us through a step or two. That's a good idea.
Well, if you go into maintenance, for instance, that's how you would run the full scan. Okay, when you click on maintenance, the first option it's going to give you is the ability to run a full scan.
Okay. Let me interrupt for a second and ask everybody, what does that red exclamation point mean? Somebody besides Tony? What does that mean?
Needs attention.
Needs attention.
You've got something to maintain.
Needs attention. It's saying, okay, this is something you gotta do, buddy. So I'm gonna click on that.
Okay, now you see the full scan recommended? This is what I'm talking about when you're doing, this is where it goes through all 32 steps. Now, do you have to go through all 32 steps? If you were to go through all the dialogue, you would find you could run only one step if you wanted to. But most people say, I don't know what I want to do, I just wanted to run and clean up my computer. So you'd run a full scan. Once it runs the full scan, again, it's going to come up with any number of errors. Okay, again, I've seen it go as high as 30,000. After it runs through all 32 steps, then it's going to come back and say, you can repair all these errors. Okay, just by clicking on the repair button, it's going to go through and get rid of all those errors for you. And it's that simple. Now, in conjunction with that, people say, okay, I run the scan, and the next day I turn my computer on, and Kershdock is telling me it fixed 5 errors today.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, what it's telling you is that, yeah, your computer was cleaned yesterday, but we have found new errors. So it automatically, since it's, what does a real-time program mean? It's running in the background. As soon as you turn your computer on, Kershdock starts working for you. So every day, it goes in and says, I'm going to check the computers, find any errors. When it finds the errors, it fixes them for you. Okay, now, there is a way, and Joe can show you, that you can, people get annoyed. They don't like a voice saying, I fixed 5 errors today. Turn it off, I don't want to hear it, just do it. Okay, so in the options in Kershdock, you can say, don't tell me what you did, just do it. Okay, and you know where,
Is that under tools? On that?
I believe it's under tools, yeah.
I remember seeing it when we first installed Kershdock, and I normally turn that voice notification off. Where to get it afterwards, I'm not sure.
Did you click on tools, Joe?
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's down here. If you keep going down, on tools, I thought,
Program settings.
oh, there it is, okay. And you have to go down a little bit somewhere.
How about general?
Yeah, it was,
Well, it looks like something we'll have to figure out and get back to.
Go back to help and support.
yeah.
Language edit.
Anyhow, I mean, we can find it, we can let you know, it's not,
I keep getting messages on, you have messages on Kershdock.
yeah, it's just
So I
letting
go to the main screen, I don't see any messages from me.
you, well,
I don't know that message.
Click on the message thing in the